Today is a control special, aka no one else is submitting, so we got a couple control replays. Yeah. Bup, bup. Trading. Yep, very high risk, high reward technical. Remember this, need to work on Thresher confirms. Pretty important. Get the overhead. Merge. Yep. So I'll bring it up again a little later. But unflying or fly canceling is a really important part of your pressure, which I remember from last week when my mic wasn't working. It was a bit of a struggle. Brain shut down. We're dead. Below incoming. We committed to a falling button, but we didn't really believe. If you're gonna press it, in my opinion, just full send it. We didn't get our crouch medium kick, I remember that. Dome. We didn't get the tech for the raw jump heavy punch. It will always be a blue bounce if it's a raw jump heavy punch. For Parasol. And so I know you asked more for advice about the other two characters, Bella and Painwheel. One thing you should probably just try to start thinking about for Umbi is managing your hunger. So far, I mean, granted, it's only been 2 games, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily intentional. You're not trying to manage your hunger, and whether if you're perfectly fine playing Insatiated, you're kind of playing at a little bit of a disadvantage. You can play patient and use her Patui, etc. to manage your hunger, try and get closer, if not in Ravenous, and then abuse Ravenous because that's how they designed the character. That's how the character is like meant to be egregious. So start thinking about why you might want to stay in certain hunger states and how to get there. I don't think there's ever a reason to call Opinion on defense. There might be. It's just incredibly risky for reasons like this. Has no armor, has no invuln. It's really easy to just get slapped. pressure, get punished. Don't think that comboed. Okay, no. No, you did that. I didn't see the push block, I was really confused. Time the left-right for when the push block was down. Bellows small. Yeah, so not necessarily daring cat heads for entirely different reasons, but I'll go back. You could have push blocked any of this, and you kind of just said, I'm holding this, I'm gonna stay in the corner, I'm not fighting my way out at all. Push blocking is vital to defense, because one, you enable yourself to PVGC if they overextend. Two, and actually, honestly, should have been one, the much more major point, you're forcing them off of you. And them being off of you limits the options they have, because almost every character can do more when they're right in your face, versus if you push them a push block distance away, they need to dash or commit to specific options to stay putting you in block stun. Which, in turn, allows you to say, you're at this range, I don't need to block low. You're at this range, I don't need to worry about throw. It makes defense so much nicer for you. So getting into a habit of... Well, I don't know if I want to call it getting into a habit, but start thinking about push blocking earlier. Getting into a habit of push blocking early leads to getting push block baited, etc., etc. That's like down the rock paper scissors train. I would like to see more push blocks on defense. It helps a lot, a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
I'll put that around. We are jumping a lot with this umbrella. No. No combo, no. Quit harassing me to become a partner. Sorry, I got distracted. We get hit. Push blocked out. Again, jumping. So... it's... okay. Yeah. Good push block. We are... I noticed this with Umbrella too. Even when Parasol is coming out, when we're in the air, we're kind of still pressing buttons to contest, which... it's putting yourself in a lot of risk, because you're just asking to get counter hit by Pillar. DC. Good luck. I don't... when was the push block? There. So just in general, push blocking in the air is a little bit weird, because it locks you in place and gives them... like, obviously push blocking getting them off of you is nice, but you need to keep in mind when you're push blocking in the air, they can time an air throw after it, and sometimes you can actually get a punish by land canceling rather than push blocking something. I don't think it necessarily mattered all that much in that situation, but I've seen it a couple times, and you will start getting air thrown for constantly push blocking in the air. It's a pretty common thing to see at higher levels. Concho again is a risky mix, but it can work, yeah. If you're gonna commit to something to get through a projectile, I would much rather it be like Concho itself, because you can do it early and just get through projectiles. Alright, how are we closing off space? Get under. Oh, we don't have any time. Meter dump immediately. We gotta be looking at the clock. No! Got roboed. Yeah, so I felt like a little bit being unaware of the timer. And once you have the hit, you either need to commit to meter dumping as early as possible to get as much damage, or just reset almost immediately so scaling doesn't matter. Yeah. Just watching the clock, knowing what your options are to deal the most damage in the smallest amount of time. Oh no. Again, we're jumping a good bit. Umbrella has some good air buttons, but she also has some phenomenal ground buttons. So I'd recommend you trying to stay grounded a little bit more with her. Again, also talking about working on hunger management. You can play a reasonable zoning game, which also allows you to manage your hunger, because that's what her projectiles end up doing. Batting away out of the corner, really good movement. I like that a lot. No combo after is kind of unfortunate. That is cruel. Could argue that reset was unnecessary. Depends on how much you want to save this meter. I know. These drops are really hurting. Overextending into a DP assist, getting thrown. DHC. Yep, I knew it. So, Thresher is a really good reversal, but like mashing is good in moderation. We already had 5 meters, so there wasn't really necessarily a reason to go for this. You don't have to respect this. Reflect it. Bikes are a projectile that you can reflect. The only thing they can do is DHC into a Robo level 3. And then I think they're going to be forced to block the projectile, which makes it your turn. They might be able to axe. But reflecting bikes is a pretty good way to deal with pillar bikes, especially if you don't think you're close enough or you're not comfortable enough with PBGC light to punish it. And you're at a really sketchy range that I would recommend it. Yeah, and going back to the grab bag point, Runny also saying, like, I would never really recommend going for grab bag if it won't kill. There are times you can make an argument for it because it generates you a absolute like ton of meter, but you are also at 5 meter here. So there isn't really a reason to go for it at all here for like any argument. Another thing you could also do here is level 3. You'll take a good chunk of damage, but you force the Parasol to either DHC to Robo level 3 and block, because Saw, it'll be 2 hits for Saw, and Saw will get murdered so they'll block it, and then you force them to push block you out. You do have to deal with Robo level 3 afterwards, which you probably will have to do anyway if you go for Reflector. It's, yeah. But if they autopilot it into that, you would have won. So, actually, one thing I do kind of want to talk about, one reason to not jump as much as you have been is this right here. One of the best ways to deal with DP assists, single hitting DP assists, chicken block it. So if you'll notice right here, you're jumping, you block it, you land cancel. You're an almost 0 block stun. This is something you can be thinking about doing. You see the assist call coming, you go, I will chicken block this. And then the effect of the assist is greatly nullified. It's an incredibly strong way to deal with people abusing almost any assist call. You can do it with Brass or Lock and Load as well, but especially DP assists, such as either pillar, especially Anti-Pillar. Anti-Pillar is a large victim of that. Oh no! That was the time we could have battle-butted. Rough drop. Oh, we could... You can Dynamo after that. And now we die because we didn't get to confirm. If you're gonna go for that incoming, which it's honestly not a bad incoming, it's really misleading, honestly. You have to know how to convert off of it afterwards, because if you're not getting a confirm for it, it's only good if you kill then. It's the same reason Greg Bag is a meh mix. It's a good chunk of damage, but especially as Bella, you'd much rather be in control of the game rather than just have that little bit of extra damage, because she already deals the damage in spades. Slip and slide. Got caught. Good block, good push block. Would like to, again, definitely see more projectiles for hunger management and just for zoning. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good part of Undy's kit. Oh no. I mean, you're learning, but that's why it's just why I'm giving tips. I know you asked for more for the other characters, but... Flying... Oh no, we could have snapped. We were close enough. Yep, so... Again, talking about push blocking in the air. This one's a little more exacerbated because it's also a multi-hit move, but a lot of times when you go for this push block, people will up forward air throw you right as the push block ends. Because you're held in place. You're not going anywhere. That's how push blocks work. You got right hit. Oh no. We didn't need to respect the assist because it was getting hit. And we kind of backed off, getting a little scared. And the one thing I'm definitely noticing about your pain wheel, it only feels comfortable, like, high-lowing people with some of the slowest high-low in this game. Instead of always going for, like, groceries, so the held heavy punch, I would definitely recommend trying to add more, like, I don't even know what it's called. Is it called instant fly cancel? Just fly jump light kick as an overhead. Whatever her equivalent of an AD is, basically. It's a lot faster. Or is it jump light kick or is it jump light punch? Either button might work, I can't remember. I think it's jump light kick. And it's a fairly common tool for pinwheels to open people up. And yeah, same with just the low. Yeah, okay, you sometimes do the flight cancel baits and stuff. I would definitely, like, that is a good game plan to have, but I would not have that be your primary way of opening people up. I'd have that be like a background thing. So it's like you do your normal mix that's a little bit better at opening people up. You try and catch people slacking, you see how they react, and then every now and again you'll sprinkle more crutch heavy punch in, and then depending on how they like panic react to that option, because that is something they don't see as often, so they're not like constantly waiting for it, then you can change your game plan to, oh, I know they don't react to this well, or I know they up back this immediately, I'm gonna try and catch them and throw them. It's just a very high committal and slow option for being your primary way of opening people up. Oh, that we could have punished that. Where is it? Stand heavy punch. Dynamo might have worked too, honestly. Good patience, but we got run at. Does this really kill? Yeah, it does. Bang. Wait, no, it doesn't. What in the world? I'm so confused. I was like... Okay, so... Especially where you're at, and I know you said you are pretty limited in your routes, I would honestly recommend starting to look at other routes as well as heavy counter hit routes. And even before you have a heavy counter hit route, I would recommend trying to at least start your basic B&B with the heavy launcher. It's a big difference in damage, even if you're not using the extra undizzy, because it's double the damage. I'm pretty sure it's double the damage. It might be 1.5. But either way, you're like giving up a free 1,000-ish damage at the start of your combo just by not using a heavy counter hit. Jumping. Oh. Oh no. Yeah. We needed to go into install there and block. Oh, we didn't believe. Again, if you're gonna commit to a falling button, although it's not as committal for Painwheel, I would recommend trying to go into a follow-up if you're gonna commit to the falling button. Because it's not that much more risk than you already put yourself in by just pressing there in the first place. Oh no, we got drops. They were dash blocking. Oh, did not combo. That also did not combo. OTG. We don't need it though. But we dropped there, unfortunately. Good tech there. Bonk. You don't care. Okay, no, you can't care. Did we press? Yeah, that was a counter hit. This is gonna hurt. Safe jump, but this is your turn. Oh no, we did it too early. If they... So... Land cancel punishing double jump heavy punch is, like... It's really weird, because double can also fast fall it at almost any point. Well, at any point. So it's not something like Parasol Jump Heavy Punch where you can point to it and go, chicken block this. It's got its whole bag of worms surrounding it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Again with a jumpy round start. Push block. They were not close enough for that to work. Go into Slurp and Slide there. Slurp and Slide is the special you want to be doing out of Jump Heavy Punch. Monk. Block. I mean, Ambi likes neutral assists, but she doesn't like need them. You don't. None of that was real. Absolutely none of that. Oh my god, you're so brave. Alpha counter. Oh, we didn't get the 360. Schmicks. Cashing out. Good character. Really struggling to get through parazoning. Yep. So you kind of constantly flew into the areas where Parasol M-Shot will cover. And if they're doing M-Shot as much as they were, I'd honestly, like, Pinwheel Ground Dash isn't awful. I'd honestly say approach on the ground, wait for the M-Shot to fly by, and then fly into the air, so you can kind of just not bother with any of her zones whatsoever. Because you kind of tried to fly through the path of M-Shot to get into M-Shot's dead zone, and it just wasn't working. Huh. We just run blocking. aggressive, but you got your way out of the corner. Catch him with the slower head. Your pain wheel, you kind of have to hold that, unfortunately. Yep. And back to when I said Contra goes to projectiles. That one also went behind her, but Contra doesn't have to go through people to go through projectiles. Another thing I'm not really seeing your Bella do all that much is reflect. You go for it predictively on Robo, which is one of its weakest uses because it's predictably right there. You can react to a lot of projectiles, so like in the Parasol matchup, reacting to her shots is really important. Because the second you can prevent a shot on you... What? Oh, we let him out of the corner. And your Bella does seem to go for a lot of Contra neutral. Command throw. We have the confirm. Nice. A little bit messy, but we got there. You lose. So funnily enough, that stopped, right? Huh, never mind. I might be misremembering, or that was not the situation I thought it was. Good push block, good absolute guard. Good tech. Oh, we got caught that time. Another thing you can do as a Bella player is, because Diamond Drop is 4 frames and throw-in vuln, if they're like in your face throwing you, you can also just go for that. It's a suggestion, not something you need to like try and go for at all. Do we have the confirm? Okay. Yep. Stayed in. What's the mix now? No mix, just drop. Unfortunate. Yep, again, we're kind of flying in line with the Parasol M shot. I never thought to do it like that. Weird interaction. That throw reach, wow, I'm surprised. Yeah, the one really like Painwheel is the one character who legitimately cannot punish pillar bikes. You might be able to PPGC crawl, but I'm not certain on that. Everything else is pretty small. But I would definitely test to see if Umbrella Raw Tag punishes bikes, because in my head it actually flies over the bikes. So if you're in a situation where the DP itself whiffed, but you don't think you can get Painwheel in there to punish the bikes, you might be able to Raw Tag to Umbi. But that's something I should figure out. Again, we're going for Concho. You actually... I don't feel like I see you go for Crouch Light Kick that much on Bella. And it's an incredibly strong pull for her. Good whiff punish. Angry? Angry. Nice. That was whack. What's the imping? This again. Was that blue bounce? No, okay, it was a green bounce. I see. Oh no. So I don't... So Parasol level 3 has 0 hit stop on it. So you can react before anything actually comes out. I'm not going to tell you to Thresher here consistently, because it only punishes if they autopilot and Egret cancel immediately. Yep, caught mashing again. Your Painwheel does it a good amount, whether you're mashing Thresher or just a button on the way down. It's something to consider. Oh, and it worked. No confirm. You gotta protect your assist. Okay. See if you can get Umbi in. Well, now Umbi's coming in. Good block. You don't need to do anything. You could just run away. Play chill. And another thing to consider in this matchup specifically, talking about Bella Reflex on reaction, Umbrella Stem Heavy Punch to try and reflect L shots is pretty good in this matchup, because Parasol does not like having tears on her. And it also prevents her from using Detonate entirely. Oh no. Would Butt have won here? I'm pretty sure Butt would have actually won here. That's so unfortunate. You also... No, you can't cancel into level 3 once you've committed to the option. That's unfortunate. Level 3 also would have broken the bike. So would have Dynamo. Yeah, that's just not quite saying what's going on fast enough. And I will swap to retail because that's what the other replays were on. Here we go. And let's see if the stream will find the game. Solo Val. And we got the fortune this time. Okay. Cat Girl Gaming. Doing a good chunk of jumping. First. Oh no! Valentine, please. Good blocks. Good block, yep. Keep in mind that they've been mashing a lot already, and I want to see if you adjust to that. I know it's only 3 games, but... Or it might have been more. Can't remember now. I think it was only 3 though. Oh! I am, like, 90% sure. Runny, please yell at me if I'm wrong. Up forward, Bella Jump Light Punch punishes this. If you do it quickly. This is not actually safe. It's hard to punish, but it's not safe. We catch her on the way down. But we got a lot of work to do. Drop the combo. We got Schmixed. Oh wow. I did not see that hit through the burst animation. Oh, we got thrown. Hello, Selfish. I do like that we're fly canceling the second we see they blocked our heavy committal air options. We got the hit. Do we cash out? Nope. They're bursting. Oh no, we don't actually get the punish. Yeah, and now we gotta deal with a solo and control the pace of the game. Oh. Got the hit though. Oh no! Yeah, these drops are starting to get kind of brutal. Do they snap here or do they just... Because I would honestly argue they should snap. Here's the snap. Yeah. Do we know how to play headless? honestly couldn't tell. We block. Oh no. I'm in danger. Yeah, okay. Go to the duo, understandable.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
You're welcome. Did they just walk up and... yeah, okay. That was really good. No confirm. We're kind of just getting caught contesting places Painwheel really can't be contesting. Look, she just doesn't... she doesn't have the buttons to do it. She has the slowest buttons in the game. We're just dead. This character deals so much damage. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. So... yeah, I will still stick by my opinion that Painwheel is stronger than people give her credit for. I will just say the way that she's strong is you don't play the game, and you just fly away the majority of the time with a life lead. Actually trying to use the character as a functional character is just obnoxious. But yeah, so we gone through all that. You asked specifically for stuff for Painwheel and Bella. Overall, and this is a little bit less important for Painwheel because it's Painwheel, but you can play a little bit more grounded on her than people do. You jump a lot. You like being in the air, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's incredibly predictable, which ends up making it a bad thing. Like, you have good air buttons, but the fact that people can kind of expect to know where you're trying to go makes it a whole lot easier for them to hit you or shut down your game plan. That's just character-wide, you like being in the air. For Painwheel specifically, I know I talked a bit about opening people up in your resets. You seem to rely somewhat heavily on your armored overhead or armored sweep, just to high-low people. You do still go for the fly jump light punch or fly jump light kick instant overhead, as well as crouching light kick, which is a pretty good button outside of how slow it is. And those are good. You actually do a pretty good job using Excella to hold them in place to either left-right them or high-low them. I do like that a lot, and you even adjust your timings to if they push block Excella or not. That is very good pressure for Painwheel. The one thing, and this was mostly on incomings I saw, you call Excella and catch them before they hit the ground, and then you kind of try and high-low them, but especially if they push block to that Excella, they're still in the air, so they don't care about high-low, they're just blocking. And then kind of your incoming pressure is just meh. It's a bunch of mids, essentially, because they're in the air. What else? One of the main things I noticed for the Painwheel, as well as, and this kind of goes into something that I'll talk a little bit later, Thresher confirms. For Bella, the Reflect only seemed to be used predictively, and it's really hard to do that in like the Robo matchup. Again, going to the Parasol matchup or Double, who have slightly slower projectiles, trying to react to those with Reflect is pretty important to the matchup. Because it not only makes you not necessarily have to deal with the projectile as much, you're not in block stun, you also turn their use of a projectile against them, and if the form of a projectile they really need to avoid or they let you in. Other than that, you can also avoid projectiles. We talked about using Tumble Run. You do like to use Tumble Run a lot. You can armor through projectiles. You can Concho to just avoid projectiles because it's projectile immune. And then yeah, we talked about the reflect. The thing about you, how much you use Tumble Run in neutral, is you like to commit to pretty committal options, like to have high commitment options when you're using it. So I saw a whole lot of Concho trying to open people up. There were a couple of the hit grab versions, the overhead, and then there were a couple times Battle Butt came out, and there were also a couple times Battle Butt didn't come out, and you just didn't react to them doing something that disrespected Battle Butt in your face. But it's not an awful mobility option. It's just my brain is blanking on the word. Once you commit to Tumble Run, there's only so much you can do, and it all comes from you running at them in a straight line. So they have a pretty easy way to narrow down what all of your options are and then try and address as many of them as best as possible. Her dash is honestly not bad. Her ground dash blocking is a great way to approach. Jumping is not bad. You also have a float that you didn't use all that much, or a glide even. Her jump heavy punch, as well as it just closes out a ton of space. Jump medium punch was also a button I actually didn't see you press all that much, and it's not like this is a god button, press it and you'll win neutral, but it is a big button that also controls a lot of space that I would probably want to see a little bit more. What are the other things for Bella? So for both Bella and Painwheel, and so I think that's as much as I remember for the character specific stuff. Both of them, and I know you talked about this, their combos need some work. And you can't, it kind of just feels like you need to be comfortable with more scenarios. So learning slightly more niche routes, just learning more routes in general. So if you accidentally mess up IPS somewhere, you can go, oh heck, I don't have this, but I know this other route works here. Or like, I have this other different way to combo that keeps the combo going, etc. And so that's going to come with just playing or watching people play your characters, and so you kind of go, you see something random that happens in your game or theirs, and you go, oh crap, I can do this off of this scenario, which will help. And then the other thing, the much more obvious thing, is a little bit of lab time. And if you're having a hard time transitioning your work from the lab to the game, I'd also recommend playing versus bots, focusing on hitting those combos. Because the bot is a nice in-between of like a controlled lab environment and actually playing in a lobby. Hey, and I'm not saying play both, like, you don't even need to find people who play both of them together. You can say, I want to watch how Bella players combo. And so by not limiting yourself to specifically the team, because you can also find out like very specific things for your team by watching those two players. You can also just say, I need to figure out how Bella works better. And then you, all of a sudden that opens up your options so much more, because you can go, oh, I want to watch TJ, I want to watch Hydra, I want to watch Mao, etc. And then same thing for Painwheel. It's like, oh, I want to watch Softy. And by watching other people's routes that aren't necessarily tailored to your assist, you can still figure out or have a good idea of what will work with your specific assists. And so you kind of piecemeal knowledge together about how routing works, and then you get more consistent and much more able to adapt on the fly, which is pretty important for as scrambly of a game as Skullgirls is. The other thing I wanted to talk about was your mashing tendencies. You really like to press a button on the way down, which in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm guilty of this as well. You started getting burst baited for it a lot, which is when you kind of need to go, okay, I need to tone this down. Because any good tool in Skullgirls can still be abused if you use it too much. And so once you start getting predictable, especially on defense, on mixed defense, that's when people just blow you wide open and run you over. And so I'm not going to tell you stop bashing Thresher, stop committing to a button on the way down. I just want to say, if you notice them calling you out on it, start doing it a little less and think about other options. Other than that, one small tidbit about you liking to press buttons on the way down. You like to press them on the way down, but then you don't commit to trying to follow up to a hit confirm after. And if you're gonna commit to pressing a button on the way down, you might as well say, I'm getting counter hit. I'm gonna press something after I land as well. Just to be like, if it hits, it hits, I get a hit confirm. If I get baited, I got baited, pressing the second button didn't really do anything. And obviously there are niche scenarios where it's like, it can help you and you need to be reacting, but I would like to see a little bit more readiness to just go, I'm pressing a button on the way down, I'm ready to react to it getting a hit. And then to answer your question about good reflect practice, honestly, any projectile is not an awful thing to work on. You can ask a friend to just hop around in a lobby and them do zoning practice while you get the practice reacting to what they do. Again, bots are not necessarily an awful use for that as well, although getting them to consistently projectile is going to be eh. Other than that, I think those are my main things about the gameplay, and then you just had other questions about mindset, and so I kind of wanted to save that towards the end. The first one about worried about dropping your combos. It's like, one, you can try and put a little bit more lab time. I also talked about learning new routes. Bots are not a bad place to go. I will definitely say the longer you're afraid, well, the more you avoid them, the more scary it will be to try and do them in game. And so it's like, if you always put it on a pedestal of this isn't something I should risk, then you'll never actually be comfortable enough to do it in game. Even if the route's actually something important you should kind of have down. So especially, and I'm not going to necessarily say like force yourself to do it in tournaments if you're trying to push for results in tournaments. Keeping it simple is definitely a very good game plan. But especially if you're just playing in lobbies with the intent to improve specifically, go for it. If you drop, make a note of where it dropped, how it dropped. Go back to the lab, go back to bots, see if you can iron out that inconsistency, and then just go it again. Because the more you get comfortable repeating it, the less scary it'll be to do, and then eventually you'll get to the point where it's like dropping as a rarity, and you go, this combo is like my B&B. This is easy now. And then that kind of transitions a little bit into your question about worried about stagnating and plateauing. I personally have also felt this a lot. I don't feel like I've improved much, and it's hard to work your way out of that mindset, and there are a couple things you can kind of look at to be working on that. One is try and figure out goals that aren't winning. And I know you said losing sucks, it 100% does. And so take joy in the victories you get when you do get them. But the reason I break down VoDs the way I do is because this is kind of how I have learned to try and gauge progress a little bit. I break it down into a couple of things I see that I feel like should get worked on, and then I kind of develop that into a list of to-do options for me to be practicing. And then if I'm going into a lobby that I like definitively want to work on improvement, I will look at the list and choose like one or two things to really focus on trying to get down. So for me, one of the examples was I had on my list for a while was like work on chicken blocking a lot more. And so it's like, if I'm playing for fun, if I'm playing for giggles, I don't really care. If I'm playing an improvement lobby, I will like see that on the list, say I'm going to commit to working on this, and just try and get my habits, like think about it enough to the point where it becomes a habit, and then that habit becomes part of your game plan. And then the other way that also helps with you feeling like you're plateauing is once you feel like you've improved enough on something that you can go, okay, I kind of want to cross this off the list. I don't think I need to work on it anymore. You're improving. Like the really hard part about gauging your level in a competitive environment is um, relative to you, nothing is static because everyone else is also improving and improving at different rates. So you might be getting better, but people might be getting better at the same rate around you, so it feels like you're going nowhere. And so finding other ways to keep track of the way you're progressing through the game is a really good way to try and avoid feeling like you're stagnating. And it is by no means easy to do. I feel like I haven't improved since like the start of this year, which is a little bit cap, but it's like that is just kind of where my brain has gone. And it's hard to work on, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you want to keep enjoying the game. You need to try and find the ways to like prove to yourself that you have improved, as well as having a supportive group of friends around you, which Get Great is phenomenal for, that are also yelling at you, hey, you're stupid, you're improving in XYZ way, please notice it. And that's kind of my TED talk on worrying about plateauing and stagnating. It's not an uncommon experience, and it's never fun to deal with, but you gotta find out what works for you to trick your brain into going, okay, yeah, you're right, I'm at least improving. But yeah, felt like that was probably a good note to wrap it up on, unless you had any other questions.